Hey guys, welcome back. So Jason here with Benji went over the conventional deadlift. We're now going to talk about the sumo deadlift. Not better, not worse, just different. It's important for us to recognize that both of them take an object from the floor to a standing position, but they're just slightly different positions. So find the one that works for you and go with it. One of the things I do want to talk about is that earlier in the deadlift, we talked about the double overhand grip as a standard. You could also do a mixed grip. Now I think for most people in jiu-jitsu, I actually think the double overhand is a really great option. I think it helps to incorporate a little bit more grip strength than the mixed grip does, but find what works for you. Just be aware that when you're in the mixed grip, make sure your arm is at full extension. As soon as you start bending, it puts a little bit more pressure on that bicep. So again, double overhand is what we're going to talk about today, but not to say mixed grip is wrong. It's just we want to use double overhand to develop our grip strength. So let's talk about the sumo. So for Benji, he's first going to demonstrate the stance. Now if you notice, right, his stance is outside the shoulders now. Whereas earlier in the conventional deadlift, we talked about our stance being hip width. Now it's outside the shoulders. How wide is too wide? If you start to see Benji's knees start to really cave in that position, his feet are probably too wide. So you could be pretty wide as long as your knees track out. If your knees start to transfer in, that's a great sign that you might need to narrow up your stance just a little bit. Now let's talk about the grip position. Stance grip, right? That's what we talk about. Benji's going to go ahead and get down and get into his grip position. Now, if you notice, his grip is about, give or take, thumbs distance apart from each other. Now, how narrow is too narrow? If Benji goes too narrow, all the way into palms, it's going to be really hard for him to control this object. So instead, he needs to widen out to where he was before. So how narrow is too narrow? Is that how wide is too wide is when his grip starts to interfere with his legs. Now, in this bottom position, Benji can just relax for a second, like just get down there. He again finds this relaxed position, okay? He's relaxed. Then once he tells himself to find peak tension, he finds it. What he's looking for, shoulder blades back, arms are long like straps. They're long. Knees are out tracked in the position, and he's here with his hamstring, shoulders slightly in front of the object. You can go ahead and relax for a second, Benji. You can just stand up. So just like in the conventional deadlift, right? We want his stance, grip, and position. Same exact thing applies to sumo. The difference is my stance is a little bit wider, my grip is a little bit narrower, but the position is still the same. I still want Benji to have neutral spine from head to hip. I still want Benji's shoulders slightly in front of the object. I still want Benji's weight in his heels. Very, very important. Now let's take a look at the bar path. Let's look at the position that he's working for. So Benji takes his stance, Benji takes his grip, he gets set up. Boom, he finds peak tension. Hamstrings are engaged. From here, he simply stands up by pushing his knees back and standing up. On the way back down, he slowly hinges to the hips and goes down to the floor. And relax for a second. One of the things that I think about all the time is that I'm pressing through the floor to create momentum to get the bar off. I'm not pulling the bar off the floor. When you pull, what typically happens is you go, wah! You want to create momentum. In this case, it's just not worth it, especially if you're competing in jiu-jitsu and that's your sport. Can't mess up your biceps or your back by trying to pull off the floor. Instead, think about how do I drive through the floor so hard that the weight just starts to come up with my arms. My arms are simply straps. They're holding on to this object, and they should always stay that way. As soon as they bend, the pressure starts to hit here, not what we're looking for, okay? So let's take one more look at the sumo, and in particular, the bar path, okay? So Benji gets down. If you have a hard time holding your hip up high, like Benji is, this is a great time to drop your hip a little bit and be more of a squat position. Here, he can hold his back, maybe a little bit more quad dominant, but that's okay. For some of us, this is where you might need to be. Now, Benji slowly stands up, hits the top, okay? Now, your hands are going to kind of graze your hips here, and that's okay. From this position, now look, head to hip. Benji's solid, okay? And on the way back down, he hinges at the hip to get back into that position. If we incorporate tempo, thank you very much, the exact same thing would apply that we've talked about earlier. You're just slowing the path either up or slowing the path down. Either one works well. So key points for the sumo. All the same points that we talked about in the traditional deadlift, but keep in mind that when we're pulling off the floor, you're not pulling, you're driving through your legs, which creates momentum for that bar to come off the floor. Keep the bar tight to your body and don't allow it to transfer out. If this position is really hard for you to accomplish, similar to the conventional deadlift, we can simply take the bar and place it on an elevated position. What this will allow you to do is to be here instead of down here, but still gain the strength that we're looking for from pulling from the floor. Additionally, if you can't or you don't have access to a barbell, that's okay. Utilize a kettlebell in particular. maybe we can increase the load here, but look at the stance, look at the grip, look at the position. Almost similar to a kettlebell, but in, kettlebell swing, excuse me. In the sumo, we're still looking for the knee to track the position, hip is high, hamstrings are engaged, shoulders are tight, and from here he simply stands up. And what we're looking for is shoulders to be on top of or slightly in front of the object. So as Benji goes back down, look at where the bell starts to hit. Bell hits there. So we're not looking for the bell to be way out in front of us or way back. We want our shoulder on top of or slightly in front of to give us a good lifting platform to come off of. Thank you very much, Benji. So to summarize, the sumo deadlift and the credential deadlift are phenomenal tools because they develop this prerequisite strength to pull an object from the floor to a standing position. We need that hamstring strength. We need that deadlifting strength in a lot of things we're doing, right? Let's just say you're going for a pass or whatever you're doing. If you stand up, you drive your hips through. Very similar here. The difference is that at the top, okay, I don't want to see you overarching your spine on a deadlift. Be neutral in your position always. Drive through your legs, keep your arms long, and keep your low back flat. Thank you.